So have you been thinking, oh, I wish I could lose a little bit of weight, but it's just such a controlling, annoying experience? Then this episode is for you.
You're listening to the Dynamic Women podcast. Each week, you'll be inspired by our global community of women. They'll share with you tools and stories to help you be dynamic in every area of life. Here's your host, award-winning coach, and the CEO and founder of Dynamic Women, Diane Ralston.
Hello, lovely Dynamic Women. This is Diane Ralston, your host, and welcome to the Dynamic Women podcast. Today, I have the expert on losing weight and doing it with some choice and flexibility. Please welcome Nicole Doumont. Hello, Nicole.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you. I'm good. Yeah. And so I really wanted to bring you on here today to talk about how to be able to lose weight without really losing your mind. But first of all, can you just share a little bit about yourself to the listeners so they can know more about you and your background?
That's a loaded question, so I'll try not to make it too boring. I'm a mom. I'm a CEO of my company, Elite Fitness Team. I'll be 43 years young in October. I love coffee and Cool Whip, and really I'm all about business and building my life that I want. That's it.
That's it.
There's more, but.
Now you already mentioned Cool Whip, and I know Cool Whip and coffee are two of your favorite things. Can you share a little bit more about that? Because how can you be a weight loss coach but love Cool Whip?
Well, it's been quite the journey. And just for the audience, just know that a little bit of Cool Whip on top of your coffee tastes amazing. So I love the two things, but two together taste even better.
Wow.
Like I said, I'll be 43, 42 right now. I've cared about weight loss and health since I was 12 years old. So it's been quite an evolution over the last 30 years. So the Cool Whip and coffee, coffee, I'm all about energy. So I love to have caffeine in my system and I love the taste. It makes me happy in the morning. So Cool Whip is a different one though. So, I have a background in fitness competitions. Yes. So I have a background in very strict dieting and that's caused a lot of mental issues. So this was about 10 years ago, and I was also personal training clients. So after I was done competing in my 5th show, I made a pact with myself to find another way because common sense wise, I just knew that eating the same thing every day and eating foods that you didn't enjoy and exercising 2 or 3 hours a day wasn't realistic. It made my life suck, right? I looked great, but life sucked. So, and I didn't want that for my clients, right? So if I hated it, I knew my clients would hate it. So I just started, along with education, I just started like Googling and researching and experimenting on myself, finding different ways to do things. So over the last 10 years, I've worked with women over 40 day in, day out. So I just know that you can have Cool Whip and still lose weight, among other things.
Yeah. And so the fact that you've been to the extreme of fitness competitions, I've seen your photos, gorgeous, but also you bring about the truth of what it really is like. You must have the utmost of discipline and really sacrificing a lot of, I'm sure there were birthdays that you wanted to have a special meal or a glass of something, and you really had to sacrifice a lot. And you said mental health was an issue. And I know, you've been in not one, but 2 of the Dynamic Women books. So Success Secrets and Confidence Secrets. And in both in your bios, you're not shy to mention the mental health struggles and depression. So can you share a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I'm definitely not a professional in mental health or depression. I just am going to share my experience. I know that depression for me started in my 20s after something somewhat traumatic happened to me, and I didn't even know what was happening. I just remember there would be times I'd be on my couch and just stare at the wall for like 3 hours and
Wow.
not do anything and, just no feeling, right? I never went to the doctor for it. I just always went to fitness. I would exercise and just, the day will go by and everything will be fine tomorrow. You just keep going, right?
Yep.
And the depression hit me really hard in my early 30s after another somewhat traumatic experience happened, all at the same time, transitioning, opening up our business.
Yeah.
And so a lot of stuff happened all at once, and I was depressed again. So I went to my doctor. She prescribed an antidepressant. And, I was like, okay, do I do this? Do I not do this? Because I didn't want to. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I just was like, okay, just give it one more try without it. So I did pray, even, I prayed and I was like, just give me one more chance. Let me find another way to fix this without taking medication. So that's when I started training for the fitness shows. So the fitness shows were bittersweet.
Yeah.
They were a blessing in disguise, even though I don't eat like that or train like that anymore. So I just found by, interestingly enough, focusing on something else besides the trauma.
Yes.
Exercising definitely helps, not 3 hours a day, but exercise itself helps. And then just eliminating wheat products and all of the other products that I was eating on a regular basis, causing inflammation in my brain. I'm not saying it eliminated all of my depression, but it has taken it away. So I'm not a doctor or a professional, but I do believe that exercise and proper nutrition can help. And it's a day in, day out focus. I don't want to call it a struggle, but a focus for me.
Yeah. Well, you're managing it.
I'm managing it. I feel like I'm lucky because I'm managing it. So, I am like militant. You talk about discipline. I'm very disciplined. That started at a very young age too. It's just in my blood. So I get lots of sleep. I make that a priority. I don't eat things that cause me problems. I exercise regularly. I do all the boring stuff.
Well, it could be boring in one respect, but the past 30 plus days, I cut out alcohol, sugar, grains, dairy, a whole bunch of stuff in an attempt to see what is triggering a lot of stuff for me and what is having me be in a bit of a funk. And I have noticed the fog clear and so many benefits to eating better, which in turn has brought out more joy in different areas and maybe more confidence and more focus and so many other things that are super awesome that aren't boring at all, right?
Absolutely.
It's pretty boring to have to fall asleep after a meal because it's the wrong meal for you. And so, okay, so listeners, here's some of this stuff. Nicole has been to this place of utmost nutrition and dedication to health, but she's also faced what a lot of people face with mental health struggles. And, maybe with COVID, you're feeling like you're in a funk. And so here's a couple of tips she's already given. Eat better and exercise, like move your body so that you can take control of that. Now, Nicole, you mentioned about, working with women who are over 40. What do you love most about coaching this demographic? Is it because you're over 40, or why do you love women over 40? That's me. And so why do you like coaching people like us?
Well, because women rule, first of all. Everything that you just mentioned, but I do have to admit, when I was personal training, and then when I had the personal training studio, and when I transitioned 100% online in 2018, I was serving anyone and everyone. It didn't matter what age, it didn't matter what gender, it didn't matter what was going on. It was like, if you're a client, you want my help, let's go. So I did, work with somebody that told me to, really dial in on who you want to serve and help. So that was was one of the hardest parts of going online. So it just dialed down to women, of course. Women are okay asking for help. That's the difference. I don't want to diss men or anything like that, but I do find that women are okay asking for help. So, and men just think they can do everything on their own. So I just started creating content specifically for women. Yeah. So women, plus I am almost 43. So I'm a woman, I can relate to them. Plus I do feel that women over 40, a lot of them have dieted for a decade or more. So they've tried all the strict diets that I did to compete, right? So I want to teach them a different way. They're ready for a different way at that point. Where I do feel a lot of the youngins under 40, they just aren't ready for my program yet.
Yeah.
So
they feel they can follow things themselves, and they're going through that maybe diet roller coaster.
All the quick fixes. They got to try all the quick fixes first.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can't have maintained consistent success or confidence when you're in that up, down, up, down, up, down.
Yeah.
So I want to refer to what you wrote about in the Confidence Secrets book. And for any of our listeners, if you want to read the full article or story or contribution, whatever you want to call it, that Nicole did in both books, you can pick those up from my website, or you can reach out to Nicole directly, as she probably has copies as well. And you can get an autographed copy from Nicole. All of her contact info will be in the show notes so that you can check out her website, learn more about her, and also make sure you follow her on Instagram, Facebook, because she puts out a lot of great content on there. So you, in your article here, you wrote about the 8 reasons why people have low self-confidence. And I'm not going to have you go through all 8, but can you go a little bit deeper into 2 of them, around the one that is around bullying? That's number 4. And then number 8 was society and social media. Can you spend a little bit of time sharing more about how these 2 things can create low confidence, and maybe a tip or 2 on how to rid ourselves of them killing our confidence, and the solutions that you would provide maybe some of your clients?
Absolutely. That's a big one. So, and it's interesting that the bullying in social media is kind of like the same. So bullying, first of all, your surrounding matters. So who you live with, who's in your classroom at school, who's at your work environment matters. So it really comes down to environment. And so, we all have 50 to 70,000 thoughts per day. And if someone in our environment is constantly telling you really mean things, you're going to end up believing that. And that's going to be part of your 50 to 70,000 thoughts per day that go through your head. So whatever you're being told in the ear, you're going to start believing it. So obviously that'll kill your self-esteem and your confidence. I remember when I was competing in martial arts when I was younger, there was a girl, I didn't even know what was happening because I was so young, but she was jealous. And so she would pick on me and pick on me and pick on me and just say the meanest things. And now I know what she was doing, right? So, but if somebody's constantly in your ear and bullying you, that's going to clearly lower your self-confidence. So who you surround yourself with matters, your environment.
So what can someone do if someone around them is bullying them?
It depends on who you are. For me, I refuse to hang around anyone that I don't want to anymore. But again, I'm 43 and I've evolved and I'm kind of a no BS kind of person. So I know a lot of people don't have that. So you really have to, you almost have to like fake that confidence till you have it. You have to take steps. You could ask somebody for help outside of that circle. You could talk back. There's things to do, but it's a personal way to deal with it. So I think the biggest thing would be to ask for outside help.
Yeah. Especially if you don't feel like you can do something yourself. And sometimes we don't necessarily have a choice because they're a family member or someone and we're around them, or we rely on them maybe to take care of the kids, or we're married in and we have someone that's a little bit rude. So designing relationships is something that I talk about. And I love that you've brought in this idea of get outside help, so that if you can't do it yourself, at least you can have the support of someone, or at least someone cheering you on so they can combat the negative thoughts that this bully is putting in your head. So how does social media breed a low confidence?
Well, first of all, I think it starts with not setting clear boundaries and time batching for yourself. So I think there's a lot of benefits to social media. Just like everything in life, there's pros and cons. So I love social media because it's great for my business, but I also time batch, like every day of the week, every hour of the day, I have time batched for certain things. So I have my to-do list and, I'm on
Yep.
social media for a certain amount of time. And I don't follow anyone that makes me feel bad about myself. So, and again, if somebody were to comment something, I would just delete and block them. So I just don't allow them in my social media environment. So it really comes down to, if you can see them and you can hear them, you got to get rid of them somehow.
Yes. Yeah. So for our listeners, the key thing is like, how much time are you spending on social media?
Mm-hmm.
Limit that amount. Also cut out the people, unfollow, or if it's someone that you're like, I can't really because I see them at this networking group, you can just mute them for a while.
Yeah, muting is okay. There's a better way though.
Oh, tell us.
Yes, you go into the person's account and you hit the 3 buttons,
Yep.
and there's an option called ignore.
Mm.
So they don't know that you have unfollowed
Yes.
but they go into the request area of your messages and they don't know that you've done it. So it's an option both on Facebook and Instagram. I've had to do it on both. So again, you just have to create those boundaries, and you have to be confident enough to do it before, it gets worse.
Yeah. And so the solutions being create the boundaries, block, unfollow, mute, ignore, and really be thinking about your intention for being on there. What I love about your stories, and I'm sure they're posts as well, but I often see your stories, is all the amazing like before and afters that you show. And what I love about them, and maybe you can just talk more about why you even show those. What I love about them is you're showing their real bodies, right? The before obviously is the real body, but the after is not a glamour shot. Mm-hmm. The after is just them, which is great. But also you're showing the non-scale victories, mm-hmm. the things that have really changed in their mindset, and you're celebrating them. So talk more about like, why are you showing these before and afters? Why bother? Maybe clients don't want their body on there too. So how do you deal with that?
There's a lot of questions there.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm giving you it all, and you take whatever you want.
Well, Wayne and I, the owners of Elite Fitness Team, we started coaching people over 10 years ago in our business. And so we got really great results because we're so passionate. We just started posting them on Facebook when we got permission, of course.
Yes.
And we just got known for transformation specialists. And it's just, I don't want to say it's an easy way to get attention, but especially right now with COVID, all the 20-year-old personal trainers are trying to make it online now, and they have no results. So people don't really care about you. They want to know what's in it for them.
Yes.
So that's why I post a lot of, this is what I do. I'm like, I don't post myself
looking
because
good and
like whatever.
Your goals.
Right? It's like, okay, what can you do for me?
Yeah.
Right. So I'm more of this is what I can do for you kind of coach. Right.
Yeah.
And so the social proof, every time I get on a consultation call, my clients are like, you just post so many results. Like, how can you deny it? How can you deny that I know what I'm doing? Right. Mm-hmm. So it's an easy way to build authority. And the non-scale victories are super important because, well, the scale can literally drive us bat crazy. Right.
Yes.
So I've created a reporting system for my clients where they report into me every day. Yes, the scale is part of the equation. But if they don't want to weigh themselves every day, they don't have to. But most of them do weigh in. We talk about, how much water they've had, digestion, exercise from the day before. And then the last thing they comment on is one non-scale victory from yesterday. Because as a coach at the beginning, I used to get a lot of negativity, right? So it's like, the scale went up, I'm feeling frustrated. And so it was all about that, right? So I was like, okay, let's look at the big picture.
Yeah, exactly.
What can you do today to move forward so you're successful tomorrow? And let's look at something positive that happened yesterday, right? So you fit into a size 10 pant instead of size 12. That's huge, right? So the scale is only one measurement. So I want to change my client's mindset,
Mm.
by focusing on the positive. So non-scale victories are a huge piece of my program.
Yeah, because if someone wasn't working out before and then they started to, that's a victory. And then if someone
Absolutely.
felt tired, I know when it's that time of the month, you feel tired and bloated and cranky. And the last thing you want to do maybe is go to the gym or work out or eat well. And so to actually say, well, I did go to the gym, but I didn't want to. And I wanted to just pound back the chocolate cake that was at work, but I didn't.
Yes.
Those are victories. So
Yes.
it's good that you're celebrating that. And, you know, with my clients and coaching them, sometimes the end result goal is not what we need to go for. Like, how many clients can you get? I want 5 clients in the next 2 weeks. Well, that's maybe not something under their control. Like sometimes the scale is not under their control, but these non-scale victories, or these are process goals. Did you drink your water? Yes. Did you eat well? Yes. Did you exercise? Yes. And how did you feel today? Felt pretty good. Awesome. So I love that you're pointing that out, because those are things that will last a lifetime, those skills that you're teaching them. So
building new habits.
exactly. Now you've given us a little bit of an insight as to how it is working with you, but can you explain a little bit more about how working with you, what it looks like, and how a weight loss coaching program works? Because I think people understand about like, well, that's what Weight Watchers is, or this is what getting a personal trainer is, but how does it work with you?
Well, it starts with an application process. So I don't just take on anyone. So I am looking for a very specific woman over 40 that's like a 10 out of 10 serious for changing their health and fitness. So after the application, if everything's perfect on there, we hop on a call together, we discuss further, and then we decide together if we're a good fit. So once somebody gets into my program, I'm more nutrition than exercise based. So I'm really about what you're eating and being accountable. So the biggest difference, I love that you mentioned Weight Watchers and the other diets, is that the success my clients get, 10% comes from exercise, 10% comes from nutrition, 80% comes from self-awareness.
Wow.
And that's the difference. So over my years of coaching, I've collected quite a few troubleshooting questions that my clients ask themselves in the morning, because the scale can go up because you got a deep tissue massage yesterday.
Oh, really?
Right? Like, who would have thought? So a lot of people are going on these diets and they're trying really hard. They're staying away from their favorite food. They get on the scale and it goes up a pound and you're like, I was perfect yesterday. So they say, you know what? F it, I quit.
Yep.
And they go back to their old ways because they didn't have the knowledge of why the scale went up. So I provide and teach my clients the knowledge of why the scale does what it does, because weight loss on the scale day in, day out goes way beyond what you're eating and exercising. So, you know, you could be working hard, get a deep tissue massage, but you're up a pound because there's water in the muscles healing. Or you go to a restaurant, you order a chicken salad, but it has like 2,000 milligrams of sodium in it. So there's like the little things or the big things to keep you from quitting on yourself.
Yeah. And that's really the game changer. I talk a lot about Les Brown's quote, when you're in the frame, you can't see the picture. That's what you're providing these people, is that they're in this frame. They're not really understanding everything. But as soon as they tell you, it's like you can translate it and give it back to them in a way that they're like, oh, okay, I don't need to throw in the towel. I'm not going backwards. It's just that massage. It's just too much sodium. It's just my period, whatever it is.
Yeah. So it's just like a little bit less frustrating. And then the women feel like they have their power back, right? Because they're like, well, my pants fit better today, but the scale is up. But I had a lot of hot sauce on my eggs yesterday. So that hot sauce is laced with sodium. So I teach my clients the little things. You know, if somebody says, oh, I followed the plan 100%, but the scale went up. I'm like, that's great. You did 10% of the work. Let's look at the other 80%.
Yeah.
You know, so a lot of the non-scale victories that I hear from my clients is that increased self-awareness. So I don't I'm not the person, I'm not the coach that takes on all that responsibility. I put it on my clients. So I'm like, okay, how about you look at the troubleshooting questions, tell me, because I help my clients fish. I don't want to fish for them.
Yes, I was just
Right.
about to say that. I'm so glad
Yes.
you said that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that's the difference.
You're giving them a life skill rather than having them depend on you.
Yes. I want them, like, honestly, if a client reaches their goal, learns how to maintain while they're with me, and then they have all these new habits and skills, that makes me like, I feel like they're my children and they're like off to the real
Leave
world.
the nest and
Yes.
off you go. Oh,
Yes.
yes.
That makes me happy.
Yeah, exactly. Well, let's kind of finish it off by coming back to the title of this episode, which is How to Lose Weight with Choice and Flexibility. You know, those are two, choice and flexibility aren't really things that you think about with dieting and losing weight. And so tell us in closing here, how is there choice and flexibility when people work with you or in your style of doing things?
So when someone signs up with me and they receive their meal plan system, they will be told how many meals to eat in a day, but they get to choose from a list of proteins, a list of carbs, a list of fats, and a list of veggies. And those lists are always getting longer with the more fun stuff that my clients and I find. So you can have eggs, you can have different meats, or you can have Quest protein chips. So there's a lot of variety in each item. And, you know, fats, for example, you can have the typical healthy olive oil.
Yep.
Or you can have, again, I'm going to mention Quest. You can have their peanut butter cups because they, right? So that's what I teach my clients. I'm like, that's fine. You can have olive oil, but then, or you could have like 2 peanut butter Reese's, like not Reese's, but Quest peanut butter cups. So I teach them that they don't have to,
choice.
They have choice.
Yeah.
A lot of my clients will have like protein pancakes in the morning with like Cool Whip on it.
Ah.
So I teach them ways to have fun. Like my clients have pizza any night of the week, right? But it's the kind of pizza that matters, right?
Tell us the kind of pizza.
What's that?
Will you tell us about the kind of pizza that
Well, you know, at the end of the day, I'm all about controlling blood sugar.
Yeah.
So carbs are on my plan, but the pizza is more of a lower carb.
Yeah.
You know, instead of wheat, have almond flour.
Yeah.
Right. And then I tell my clients how to measure and manage it, how to incorporate it so that they have choice. So if everyone on a Friday night's having pizza, they can have pizza too. Right.
Yes.
So they get choice. They get choice.
Yeah. And what I love about that is it really gives people the ability to still live life, how they want to live life, as opposed to how maybe things were when you were doing your training and competing. So they get to live their lives. And especially, I know as a woman over 40, I've got my kids, I've got my husband, I've got my business, I've got my volunteer things, I've got all this stuff happening. I still want to be able to live life and feel that I'm at my most healthiest weight. So I love what you're doing for these women. I see it in all of the posts that you do with the wins that they're having, their learnings they're having, the success in the after photos. And I think the first woman that I ever knew that worked with you, I played rugby with, and I know she struggled with her weight for a very long time. I won't name drop here. I'll let you know after.
Her initials D.
Yeah. Yeah. And so seeing her after photos and the joy in her face, like that for me was, I was like, and who trained her? And then I met you and I was like, oh, you were the one that trained her. That's so cool. And she was already doing a lot of fitness with us at rugby. And so the fact that you came at it from another angle was amazing. So thank you so much for sharing with us some of your tips and tricks to, you know, getting back into I'd say the life that you want to live. And if anyone out there, you know, if you're thinking that, oh, maybe this is good, or I don't know, well, you already heard how it works. You just contact Nicole, fill the application, then you have a conversation and she'll let you know if she can help you or not. And if you're a fit. Any last words that you want to share, Nicole?
I just want to say you're welcome and thank you for asking me to do this. And anyone watching, feel free to reach out. And if you're not ready for an actual program, we have a free Elite Fitness Team community Facebook page you can be a part of, where we post every single day motivation, inspiration, tips, workouts for no commitment. You could just sit and see what we're like and join in if you want, or just watch from the backline.
Awesome. And how would someone search for that on Facebook? I'll also put it in the show notes, but how would someone search for it if they're listening?
Elite Fitness Team community.
Oh, super easy.
That's it. That's
awesome.
super. I like it simple.
Well, I'll let you get back to your coffee and whipped cream, Nicole.
I do drink water too.
Oh, good. So for all of the listeners out there, we always bring on here, I always bring on here every other week, an amazing dynamic woman who is successful, who's doing well in her business, or in her life. And I have her come on and share her expertise with you. So make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss out on any future episodes. And hey, you had some good feedback that you wanted to give about Nicole in this episode. Please drop a comment and share with someone who you think needs to hear this today, or, someone who you think would enjoy the show. So until next time, stay dynamic. Bye.
Thank you, Dynamic Women, for joining us today. Please hop on over to iTunes to subscribe and leave us a review. Who do you know who needs to hear our message? We'd love it if you'd share our channel with your friends and family. If you're ready to be more dynamic, have more balance and more success, head over to www.dynamicwomenclub.com/free gift for your Key to Success book. Stay dynamic.